Joining me now with a reaction and discussion is Arizona Senate candidate Kari. Good to see you, lady, as always. This is the kind of anti-American chaos and unequal treatment under the law championed by the Socialist Democrat Party. What's your take on what we saw over the weekend?
Oh, well, considering how they treated people who showed up for January 6th, maybe they should be arresting and detaining some of the people who were in Lafayette Park, right across the street, causing havoc there. I mean, it obviously showing we have a two-tier justice system. We don't truly have law and order. And, you know, we watched people come together in Las Vegas, and you mentioned it at the top of the show. It was hot. It's hot this time of year in Las Vegas and in places like Phoenix, and President Trump drew a huge crowd in Phoenix as well, and people stood out in the heat. And they don't care because they're so worried about the direction of this country, Chris. They're willing to stand out in the heat. They're willing to get hot. They're willing to do whatever it takes to take this country back. They're watching this lawlessness that's happening on city streets from Washington, D.C. to New York, all over this country. And they're just ready to take our country back. And I'm really happy that President Trump is free now to finally campaign after being basically held hostage almost in New York for that witch hunt of a trial that he had to endure for 6 weeks.
True. And shame on ABC News. I had to chuckle. I was saying on talk radio this morning, Kari, that if it was Joe Biden that attracted a crowd like that, the last thing the biased press would be focused on is people succumbing to the weather. But that's the best ABC News could do, because they wouldn't focus on the positive crowd that he was drawing. I mean,
wait a minute.
What a disgraceful.
Chris, you know full well Joe Biden could never draw a crowd.
Yes, well, unless they're there, bashing him, which he was. The Washington Examiner, which he had this last weekend. Meanwhile, I want to talk to you about the Washington Examiner and other media outlets exposing a memo from Customs and Border Protection. Joe Biden put out that fake border order last week. We know it's fake, as the Border Patrol agents are now being instructed to let illegal aliens from more than 100 countries just to continue to break into America, even after that fake order was issued. States like my home state of Texas and your beloved Arizona are paying a huge price for Democrat lawlessness, yes?
It's horrible, and I feel for the Border Patrol agents. They want to do their job. They want to protect our country, and they're being ordered by the president and this lawless administration, this crooked administration, to just continue to process people and move them on in. And that's what's happening, and that's why Arizona is, the people in Arizona are fit to be tied. We can't take it anymore. Not only are we now the #1 state for border crossers, because Texas is finally clamping down, fighting back against the federal government, as they have the right to do. And in Arizona, our illegitimate, terrible governor is doing nothing about it, forcing the Border Patrol to continue to process people. And not only that, we are the #1 state for bringing in fentanyl, which is killing a generation of people. 27,000 pounds of fentanyl was confiscated and seized in the last fiscal year. Almost half of that was seized in Arizona. I'm not okay with that, and neither are the people of my great state. We got to bring this to an end. Joe Biden is not fit to do it. He's the reason we have an open border, and that's why we have to make a big change November 5th when we vote for President Trump, and when we vote for me to come into the Senate and help make sure that we get that America First agenda passed.
Well, President Trump, speaking of him, revealing that he's going to announce his vice presidential pick at the GOP convention next month, and many are calling you a fine choice for that role. Conservatives say President Trump should pick an America First VP who's ready to carry the mantle after Trump's 4 years. But the Surrender Caucus inside the Republican Party is urging Trump to pick a non-America First moderate. What's your advice?
Well, obviously, I want America first. I think President Trump will pick a great vice president. I'm not sure who it will be. I hope it's somebody who will continue and carry the MAGA torch, the Make America Great torch, which is the torch to make sure that beyond the next 4 years, we can take this movement of the people, we the people, further. And I hope it's somebody who the deep state and the media fears. So I want to see him pick somebody who's really great, and I know he will do that. I have no doubt in my mind that President Trump's going to pick a great, courageous, brave fighter. And obviously with President Trump at the helm, we're in good hands, and I think he's going to be a great president the next 4 years. And, you know, and hopefully the VP won't have to do all that much. But I want to make sure that it's somebody who will continue to carry the torch of the America First movement. I believe he will do that. The ones I've heard about that he's looking at, I feel great about. I'm going to crawl across glass, broken glass if I must, to vote for President Trump and whomever he chooses to be his VP pick. I'm excited to be running for U.S. Senate in Arizona. This is a seat we must take back. We want President Trump, when he gets in office, Chris, to be very successful, and that's going to require the majority in the Senate. So we have to take back these Senate seats. We have to vote Republican all across the board. In every open Senate seat, we have to vote in every Republican we can across the spectrum in every congressional seat and Senate seat to give President Trump that army that's going to be right behind him pushing this America First agenda.
Kari, I've only got about a minute left, but I wanted to get you to weigh in because you mentioned the unqualified left-wing governor you have. The Attorney General's office probing a pay-to-play scheme involving your former opponent, Katie Hobbs, the left-wing extremist governor of Arizona, as everybody knows now. Reports revealed that Sunshine Residential Homes donated roughly $400,000 to Hobbs. But questions are now being raised when the Department of Child Safety raised their daily pay rate per child by about 60%. And this came as other homes were getting their requests for more funding rejected. How much trouble is Arizona in with Hobbs at the helm?
Well, I mean, I've always known she was unethical. You could just look at her past. Look at how she ran the Secretary of State's office. She ran the election that everyone saw was not run well in Arizona, to say the least. And now we have the AG, who really shouldn't, in my opinion, be sitting in that seat investigating a fellow Democrat. I mean, the entire state of Arizona is run, in my opinion, by the cartels. And so I don't hold out a lot of hope, Chris, that this investigation will be done properly. But it should be done properly, and I think when they dig a little bit deeper, they're going to find not just unethical behavior, but perhaps criminal behavior if we can get a solid investigation. I'm not surprised in the least that this kind of shenanigans would be exhibited from this office, in our governor's office right now, considering who the inhabitant is right now. But we shall see. We'll see if they can find a spine and do the right thing for the people of Arizona.
Yeah, that's what you get when you elect a Democrat. It's just like Democrat equals corruption every single time. Kari Lake, thank you very much. Appreciate the time as always.